everybody, this is Ed. I think we have 1 o'clock, so I think I will get us started here. Couple quick things for those who haven't been on our webinars before. We do record these webinars. We put them up on the YouTube channel, so that's youtube.com/Crowe Medicare. So it's actually youtube.com for YouTube, if I could say it again. It's youtube.com/@Crowe Medicare. So we put them on our YouTube channel, or you can just Google YouTube Crowe and Associates. If you have any questions during the webinar, just send them into the question section. I will answer them at the end. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't answer them while I do the webinar. I'm not smart enough to do that. And I think that's it. Having said that, we're going to go through AHIP test tips for 2025. I just took it this morning. It's easy. It's really not difficult at all. And if you follow the format that I and a lot of people use, you shouldn't have any problem with it. So let's hit our agenda. And again, we have a lot of people coming on right now. So if you have questions, shoot them into the webinar and I will answer them for you at the end. So the agenda is we're going to go over the format, talk about who needs AHIP, for those who don't know. What's the test like 2025 versus 2024? Not very different. Talk about the tips themselves. I mean, don't forget about the very important fraud, waste, and abuse in non-discrimination training, and then how you transmit your results. So this will be a quick webinar, probably about 10-15 minutes. Okay, so AHIP, as you know, is an annual certification that is done. The carriers have all basically adopted it. Almost every carrier requires that you complete AHIP every single year. There are a couple carriers that don't require it. Believe it or not, you can actually get ready to sell for UHC on Advantage and Part D without completing AHIP. However, most carriers require it, so you're kind of forced to do it. AHIP is only applicable to products that require certification, so that's not applicable to med sups. Again, AHIP is for Advantage products in PDPs. Anybody who takes the 2025 AHIP, that counts for the rest of 2024. So do not take the 2024 one at this point. The 2025 is out, counts for the rest of this year, and it will count for next year. If you take the 2024 one, you're going to pay $125 for the 2024, and then just have to spend time taking the 2025 one again, wasting money and time. So at this point, take 2025. AHIP obviously is different than the carrier certification. So for anybody who's new on here, I don't want you to think that, I took AHIP, I'm good. No, you take AHIP and then you got carrier certifications, and they all have them for Medicare Advantage and Part D. So if you're newer and you want to add 15 carriers, but you might want to reconsider that, because then you got to do AHIP and 15 various certs. So the cost for AHIP, the standard cost is $175. You can certainly get it less through any sponsored site for $125 through the carriers, for example, a number of them. We have the link. So if you go to our website, pfsinsurance.com, you can get AHIP right now through there for $125. All you do is go to the website, click on the AEP Toolkit button that's like halfway down the screen on the homepage, and then click on AHIP discounts. And I do see questions. I promise I will answer those questions at the end. So AEP Toolkit, AHIP discounts, and then you can get the discounted cost of AHIP. If you are something like an Aetna Front Runner, which they do have this year for those that qualify, you can get it for free through there, but through the Front Runner program, I don't believe it's available yet. AHIP, however, is. Like I said, I took it this morning. So the modules, it's same format as the last bunch of years. It's broken into 5 modules. There they are in front right there. They're the Medicare Basics, Medicare Health Plans, Part D, Marketing and Enrollment Guidance. Same format, hasn't changed really at all. At the end of each module, so you've got the option on the modules to click through all the slides of the module, and then you take the practice questions. So the practice questions are the most important part. So each module has 20 practice questions. So we have 100 practice questions. Those are, almost all of those questions are going to be identical on the test. And for me, I think 45 of my questions were the exact same questions on the practice exam. So concentrating in doing the practice exams and getting to know those, if you do that, you can pass the test just based on that. So really focus on those practice questions. Really key to do. Okay, so if you took AHIP last year, you only actually need to click through the slides on modules 4 and 5. You don't have to click through the slides on 1, 2, and 3 if you took and passed AHIP last year. So you can click on the slides for 4 and 5, which it takes a while to click through the slides. So you can just click through 4 and 5. You don't have to click the slides for 1, 2, and 3. You do, however, have to take the practice questions for all 5 modules, and you want to anyway. And those are the questions on the test, verbatim. They don't even change the wording. So you got to take all 5 modules practice questions, but you don't have to click through the slides if you don't want to, if you took it last year, but you do on 4 and 5. Even if you're going to just click through the slides on 4 and 5, I would say to initially just click the slides. Not, you don't have to click through them, but just open them up initially on 1, 2, and 3. Because when you do that, to the far left, you have the option to save the whole slide deck for each module. And you want to do that, save it to your computer. So then you have it when you're taking the test if you need to reference it. And again, they're on the top left-hand corner when you open each module. I'm going to say for like the 50th time, pay really close attention to the practice questions. Go through them a few times if you have to. The test is the same as last year. It's 50 questions. You need a 90 to pass. A couple things to remember as you go through here. This will come up, especially on the questions. And again, you're going to see them on the practice questions anyway. You're going to see the same question, but just keep in mind, hospice is covered under Part A of Medicare. The less that. If somebody's getting dialysis, it's 4 months before they can get Medicare A and B. Disability is 24 months before you can get Medicare. One question that I found, I guess for some reason, I just always am tempted to answer it wrong. Requests for RSPs are allowed, but you can't require contact info. So if you're real quick to say, oh, they're not allowed, they are. You can RSVP people for a seminar, for example, but you can't require contact information. Of the questions, the 20 sample questions on the 5 modules, which you will see on the test, the most difficult to me are the module 2 questions. I think they're the hardest because those are the questions that talk about MSA, PFFS, private fee for service contracts, cost plans, stuff that in a lot of states you're not used to. That's the module 2 information. So that to me generated the hardest questions on the test. When I went through this morning, there was only one question about the medication payment plan. That's where your clients will be able to, if they have a lot of copays, they can finance it over 12 months. I only had one question based on that. And just remember your star rating, because you probably will get a star rating question. And the open enrollment for a 5-star plan, 5-star rated plan, runs December 8th through November 30th. So you just need to keep that in mind as well. When you take the actual test itself, you can take it 3 times. If you go through the modules, if you click on the slides, but even if you don't click through modules 1, 2, and 3, because you passed last year, but just click on the slides, save the PDF. You'll have the PDF for all 5 modules, and really just concentrate 95% of your effort on the practice questions. If you do those things, you're going to pass. But having said that, you can take it 3 times. What if you fail 3 times? Well, you got to buy the course again. I'm not sure what they'll do this year. This is old information from last year. If you're taking the exam and you close the window out or lose internet, I'm not sure if they're going to count that as a fail, an attempt submission. They might. Usually, if you are taking the test, you're halfway through, lose internet or close the window, it's going to show up as a fail. So there's one fail. So anyway, concentrate on the questions, go through the information, but really put your effort on the sample test questions, and you shouldn't have a problem with failing. They do give you the option to buy C credits. In my opinion, for the number of credits they give you, I don't really think it's worth the money, but that's up to you. I'll let you look at it and determine if you think what they're asking for money-wise is worth the amount of CEs they give you when you take AHIP. I didn't think it was a great value. I prefer just going on like WebC or something like that, paying for one course and being done in one fell swoop, but that's up to you. So when you take AHIP, go through the modules, you pass the test, just remember you're not done. You don't have your AHIP designation yet. You got to do the fraud, waste, and abuse and the non-discrimination training. and they're on the tab. So when you first open AHIP up, there's the AHIP tab, but then there's the FWA tab as well. And you got to click on that. You're going to have to click through those slides. You can't bypass those. You have to click through those slides, and then you're going to have to take the training for both of those. When you're done with that, you will get a certificate. Please save your certificate. You need it. So save it on your computer. Your AHIP certificate, you want to save it. On AHIP, there's going to be a button, and it's a transmit button. You can transmit your results to the carriers, and you need to remember to do so. It's not automatic. You got to transmit it. So you can transmit to the carriers, but when you transmit to the carriers, some of the carriers don't participate electronically. So that's why you'll need your certificate, because there are some carriers out there that will make you email that certificate to them. But usually with most of the carriers, on the AHIP transmit button, you can just knock it out right there, no problem. That's all we had. I would get into a lot of detail and drag this out, but the reality is there's not a lot to get into with it. Sample questions, all 100 of them, study them all. Like I said, 45 of my 50 questions were the exact same questions as the sample questions. The other 5 I had weren't very difficult. Take your time on the test. You have 2 hours. Remember that. I'm going to go over questions here in a minute. I'm sure I'll have some. You can watch all our videos on YouTube. It's YouTube/@Crowe Medicare. And let's see if we have any questions at this point. Somebody said hi. Well, hi. Thank you for saying hello. Do we have any questions? I'll wait here for a few minutes and see if we have any on the test. And again, for those who took it last year, it's basically the same test. I thought because of the changes and some things going on, there might be a bunch of new material. There really isn't. If, for example, even poor Mr. Rainey, there's still the Mr. Rainey question, and he's still experiencing paranoid delusions. This has been going on for the guy for like 5 or 6 years. So, but he's still on there. It's the same question. I remember that question every year about Mr. Rainey. Somebody said, congrats on passing the test. Thank you. I actually got a 98. I didn't get a 100. But I did not click through the slides on module 1, 2, and 3. And again, some people will say, well, I took it last year, but I want to click the slides. You can, no problem. Somebody, okay, we have a question. Let's see. I understand that at a certain age and being in a business for a certain length of time, a person cannot be required to take certain insurance tests. Does the same apply to Medicare? No, it does not. There is no grandfathering in Medicare. You have to take AHIP every single year. You have to take the carrier certifications every single year. There's absolutely no exception. Somebody said, another question here. Okay, they're coming in now. Ed, I am appointed with a few carriers every year. What do you recommend as the hot carrier this year? It depends completely on your state. I don't think there's going to be, it's going to be an interesting year. You're going to see a big reduction in benefits this year. The benefits at a glance, the first looks, Pinnacle puts them up on their site, pfsinsurance.com, on the agent toolkit. If you don't, at the beginning of the year, look at the first looks, not at the beginning of the year, but starting now, basically, there's first looks out there. If you're not looking at them, you should. Well, in years past, you should have anyway. This year, Pinnacle as the first looks come available, they'll put them up. The first couple, and you can look at them yourself, there's a couple carriers up there right now. It's a little disheartening because the first looks, usually they give you out-of-pocket max, primary copay, specialist copay, inpatient hospital copay, and some other pieces of info so you can, in June and July, you can tell who's going to look good in a certain area. The couple first looks that are out there now, they have zero benefit information, none. So that leads me to think those carriers, that's all we're going to know until 10/1. They talk about their footprint. They talk about that they might have some extra benefits. They show nothing for benefits whatsoever. Let's hope the other carriers don't follow suit. Do you think the CMS will make us take a separate test for the new rule? No, I don't. I don't at all. Somebody said they're in Jersey. Again, I don't know who's going to be hot in Jersey. We don't know the benefits yet. And when the first looks come out, that's going to determine it for us, is when we look at the first looks. Where are the first looks located? They're on the Pinnacle website, pfsinsurance.com. Go on the agent toolkit, and Pinnacle will put the first looks up there as they become available. They've got 2 up there, and maybe they put a 3rd up today. What is the password format for the first looks? It's the carrier's name with the first letter capitalized, 2025. Carrier's name, first letter capitalized, 2025. What are the C credits we need? Well, no, you don't need them. It's just on the, when you take AHIP, it gives you the option, if you want, you can pay money and you will get a few CE credits. Again, you'll see it when you take it. They'll ask you if you want to pay to get the CE credits. For the amount of money for the CE credits you got, to me, just didn't make a lot of sense. Can I talk about new agent commission for 2025? I'm not going to do that now. I've done webinars on it, so if you go to my YouTube channel, that is on there. I record these. I'm going to put it up, and this is a webinar on AHIP, so I just don't want to get too much into that. What I can tell you is I'll give you a couple pieces of information. Commissions, when they're put out sometime in July by CMS, that's going to let us know, is everybody at the national level of commission, CMS max commission? Or are they going to leave the higher states alone and leave them higher? So they're going to leave DC, Connecticut, and PA, California, and New Jersey at the higher amount, or is everybody going to the national level? I don't know. We'll know when CMS comes out with it. Nobody seems to know. And then the other thing is, agents will get, when they sell an Advantage plan, they will get an extra $100. And then when it renews, they'll get an extra $50. But again, I did a webinar on that. It's one of our more recent ones on our YouTube channel. And just if you can't find the YouTube channel, just Google YouTube Crowe and Associates. Are there major changes to Part D? Yes, there certainly are. $2,000 drug cap, plans likely being non-commissionable, huge premium increases. So big changes to standalone Part Ds for that matter, and pretty big changes to Part D in general, especially with that $2,000 cap. Will you repeat the First Look website? Yes, it's PFS, like Pinnacle Financial Services. So www.pfsinsurance.com. You click on the agent toolkit, and then in there, you can look at the first looks. You do have to register on the Pinnacle site to get in, but that's where it is, pfsinsurance.com, agent toolkit, and then you'll see the first looks, and they'll put them up as they become available. They will put them up. But for the person who asked about the Part D changes, again, go to our YouTube channel. I did a webinar on that a few weeks ago. There are substantial changes with Part D, to answer that question. Let's see. Sorry to ask, have you or are you going to host a webinar on Part D? Yes, I did. And it's on our YouTube channel. So if you look at the videos on there, it was done within the last month or two. Anybody else? Any other questions for us here? A lot of good questions. Let's see. Will existing standalone Part D clients also be non-commissionable for renewals? That's a great question, Mike. I don't know. If they go non-commissionable, I think the existing will stay and pay commission because they don't have to pay the $100 on that. The reason the Part D will go non-commissionable most likely is because when CMS wrote the $100 in, there was $100 for Medicare Advantage, and they also added the $100 for PDP, and obviously that won't work for the carriers. Paying the full commission plus the $100 would not work. So I think most of the carriers will go non-commissionable on the PDPs unless CMS makes the last second change. And as far as existing business, I would assume it'll still be commissionable because they don't have to pay the $100 on that. How long did it take me to get through AHIP? Well, not very long. I mean, I only had to click through, remember, the modules on, I only had to click through the slides on modules 4 and 5. I took the 100 practice questions, and then the exam took me maybe 20 minutes. So I'd say I clicked through all of AHIP in about an hour and a half, and then 20 minutes on the test. If you got to click through, if you're new to AHIP and you got to click through the slides on modules 1, 2, and 3, it's going to take you substantially longer. And just because I took the test in 20 minutes, I've taken this test so many times. Take your time. You got 2 hours. Great. It looks like that's all we have. I really appreciate everybody coming on today. Please go on our YouTube channel. I do have those webinars on all the topics people have asked about. I've done them recently as also pretty short recordings. So go on and watch if you really want to bore yourself to death. But it's good information at least. So thanks for coming on today. If you have any questions, just give us a call, 203-796-5403. and hope to see you again on a future webinar. Thank you.